I've just reproduced a sugar bucket or a Firkin that was in our family home when I was a child. I remember this bucket and I wanted to reproduce it. Let me just show you a photo of my reproduction. It's redwood and some walnut, and it was a fun project to do. I'm not sure whether it is shaker exactly, but it's much like what the shakers did with these objects. And it involves some of the technology that's used on shaker oval boxes with these bandings that are wrapped around the carcass here. Now, let me go to the exploded view of this design. And it has, of course, the bucket part with all the staves. There are 12 staves in this bucket. And then it's got these steam bent bandings that go around, and a lid that also has a banding and of course a handle, and a bottom that fits into the grooves that you can see in the back of these staves here. Let me go through a little bit of the effort in creating the design for this thing. And I'll just move over here, and I'll start with a circle for the bottom of the bucket. Now, you can see that I've got this set at 12 sides, not 24, because there are 12 staves, and the bottom is actually 10 inches in diameter. So I want a radius of 5. I'm going to type 5, and there's the bottom. I like, when I'm doing pieces like this, I like to work with a center line because I can use that as a reference to manipulate the components and connect them accurately and so on. So there's the center line of this bucket with 12 sides. The height of this bucket is 9 and a quarter. So let me type 9 and a quarter to get a little reference position there for the top of the bucket. So the top is actually 9 inches in diameter. So there isn't that much taper, 10 inches to 9. So I got to type a 4.5 up here. Let's see, I've got X-ray mode on. I'm going to turn that off for a minute. And now I want to draw a stave. There'll be 12 staves. They're all the same components, so all I need to do is create one stave, and I've got all of them. So I'm connecting these node points here. There's a face, and each stave, well, let me go ahead and make this a component called stave. And I'm going to call this stave new, just to make sure I don't interfere with something else in the model here. So I just have as a face, and I'll edit that and use push-pull and get a 1/2 inch thickness. So that's the start of the stave, but we got a lot of work to do to get the angles of the edges so that they all fit together. I'm going to pull a copy of this stave over here and work with it in the clear. Now, it's easier to work one of these things if it's lined up with the overall red and blue and green axes. And right now it's all cockeyed. So I'm going to adjust that by, let me pick the rotate tool, and I like that it's on the blue, and I want to rotate that so that it lines up with the red axis. And there it tells me I've got that face now lined up with the red axis. But I also have an issue here because I'm not lined up with the blue axis. This thing is tilted forward, and I want to now go to the corner here and rotate this on the red axis so that I'm on the blue axis. And there it says blue axis. What happened? Oh, let me now change the axes. So I right click on it, and I pick change axes, and I can now make this line up with the overall red on the red axis and green axis. There we are. Now I've got a clean component lined up, so it makes it easier to work with. But it's got these square edges which we know don't work. They need to be angled. So I'm going to go back over here, and I'll just go ahead and copy the staves around. So I'll use the rotate tool on the blue axis from the center, and I'm going to hit the control key so that I copy. So I copy the stave over to this position. I just went over to the midpoint of the circle there, and now I can say X11, type X11, and I can create all the staves. I'm going to delete this top so we can see what's happened here. You can see that the angles are not done on the edge so that everything fits. And we know by just looking at this. Let's edit the component and draw the proper angle that's going to be required from there to there, and also from there to there. I need to do that at the bottom as well. So I'm going to turn on X-ray, go down here and draw that intersection there, and draw that intersection there. So I've got these lines now that should show up, and they do, over here on this on this copy. And what I will do, I need to delete material here. So edit the component and draw a line from that corner to that corner to that corner, and that's the real shape of the stave. I've got this extra material that needs to go away. That needs to go away. There, there, and there. So let me just get rid of X-ray. And this is the stave now that if I go back to the assembly here, you can see that they all fit together now in the composite. So making one stave makes all 12, since it's the same component. I want a groove in the bottom of this stave. And a 1/4 inch, the bottom will fit into a groove down here, and that groove is 3/4 inches up. So guideline there, and it's a 1/4 inch groove. So I can now draw the line here and draw the line here. And I want it to go a 1/4 back. I'll go ahead and just pull that back 1/4. But that didn't, as you can see, there's extra material there. That doesn't finish this off properly. Let me turn X-ray on so you can see this little box inside. It needs to extend out to the edges. So I'm going to take that line and bring it out on the red axis, and it stops on the face. That's where I want it to stop. I want this to come out and stop on the face, and then I can bring that down and bring this over and bring that over and get rid of this and this and this. Now, and also that. So that should, there. Now you can see how that cleans up. That has to be done over here on the other end. So I bring an edge out on the red axis on face, and then back over here, and bring this out on the red axis on face, bring that over here, close that up, and should be able to just delete this and delete that, and that. So, wow, got all these guidelines. Let me get rid of those. Let me close the component and go back to the, oops, didn't want to go that far. I wanted to go back here so that we can look inside. Not this one. I want to look at this and see the groove down there, or if I just turn on X-ray, you can see the groove now for the bottom. And so obviously this is not the final of making this piece, but it gives you an idea of how to start with and get the staves put together for the barrel.